Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice. We got a good one lined up today. I have a guest who may or may not have been to jail. We're still feeling that out. We were getting to talk before we started recording here, so we'll unpack all of this, I promise, as we dive into the episode. But what we're really going to talk about is marketing and some out-of-the-box ways to increase your visibility online. I can't stand marketing. There's a whole lot of gurus on the internet, air quotes, who just really lie to you. And I don't think we have one of those in front of us today. I have an amazing guest, Emily Aborn, lined up. Welcome to the show, Emily. Thanks for being here.
Brandon, thanks for having me. And to date, just to set the record straight, I have not yet. I have not been to jail, and I hope to never be.
Not yet, she says. This is amazing. Okay. I can't wait to hear what you have up your sleeves. Yes, we're obviously kidding. Emily has not been to jail, but we do love to have fun here. But Emily, seriously, talk to me about marketing. I think there's so many people in marketing, people who just woke up and they decided they're an expert marketer. You've been doing this for a long time. How did you originally get into marketing, and also why marketing? I'm curious.
All right, that's a great question. It has a lot of answers. So I think I need to rewind to kind of when I started my whole little entrepreneurial journey. So, I mean, realistically, I've wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was a little kid. And I was the kid that had like dog walking services, lemonade stands, like quote unquote antique stands, which was really just like seashells and railroad spikes. But I have always had that desire. So, back when we were kids, standing at the end of the road with our little lemonade stand, it's easy to market yourself. You're very cute. You're the only lemonade stand on that corner, and people are thirsty on their way home from work, and they want to give their neighbor's kid 50 cents, right? So it's a lot easier when we're kids to market ourselves. I never lost my desire to be an entrepreneur, but it took me a really, really long time to get there. So I went to college and got a degree in health education, and then I never did anything with my degree in health education, and I became a waitress and all the things that you do when you're like trying to find your life path, right? So eventually, my husband and I opened a retail shop together. It sounds weird, but I promise it has a reason. We opened a non-toxic bedding store. So it was like organic mattresses and products without formaldehyde and foams and things like that. So we opened that locally in New Hampshire, where I live. There's a lot of like naturally minded, health minded people, and it was just the perfect fit. When I started, I thought like I didn't really know what I didn't know about marketing a business, but I did know about customer service. I had always, my grandfather owned his own general store, and he was a great example of customer service. I worked in customer service for a company that was like stunning at training you in customer service. Like I had that part down pat. And that's where I really started to learn like the marketing that I thought I was supposed to be doing, like the SEO and the social media and the emails and all of that stuff, the blogs. While I loved it, it wasn't the only thing bringing people into my business. And we had to learn that the hard way, right? Because we hit like that slump that lots of businesses hit at like 3.5 years in. You're like, oh my God, how am I bringing new people in? So I had to think out of the box, literally out of my store, get myself out of the standard marketing techniques I was using and like go meet people, go talk to people, go collaborate with people. So that's kind of, I think, where I started to see that I love content writing. I love copywriting. Like I love writing. Those things are really exciting for me. But marketing is not just that. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get into this trap where we are just like focused on this digital marketing and marketing looking one way and expecting like people to come to us, where a lot of marketing is actually like going and meeting your customers where they are and saying, "Hey, I noticed you need this thing, and I actually just so happen to offer it."
Yeah, I love that. And that's the general theme of today's advice, right? Like the gurus on the internet is go and just create content that attracts people. I don't think we understand what that means. And I love what you're saying. Way better is go find them where they are and engage them in a conversation, so to speak. But I also want to make this argument. So I grew, built, and sold my first business solely because of customer service. Like I suck at marketing. I'll be the first one to admit it. I hate it. I can't stand it. Not my thing. I only focus on customer service. I'm going to put a stake in the ground, and I want you to either confirm or argue this point that customer service done right is the best form of marketing a business could ever have. How do you feel about that?
I think I would agree with you. I mean, I think also if you have one, I think if you have marketing and no customer service, like no amount of marketing is going to be able to make up for that, you know?
It's such a harder lift, right, to get a customer rather than to keep a customer.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, they both work together, but that's me being ridiculous on this show because I like to be a little ridiculous. But I think it's really important, and I love that you brought that up because having one without the other makes no sense. So before you go dive into marketing, make sure you can serve your customers at a high
Yeah.
level. I love that.
I
Okay.
if people want a book to dive into that more, I read this book when I was like 16 called Hug Your Customers, and I have never lost the principles in that book. Like it is so good. And that's the question you can just ask yourself that question. How can I hug this customer? How can I make this customer feel hugged?
That's amazing. I've never heard of that book. The one that I read that really kind of turned me onto this was, oh man, I'm gonna blank on it now. This is fantastic. Oh, Never Lose a Customer Again. I think it's by Joey Coleman. Have you read that one?
No, but I'm adding it to my list.
Okay, add it to the list. If you comment on this video, Joey Coleman, I will send you a copy of that book. How about that? There's my
Wow.
bold claim. So make sure you put that in the comments and then subscribe to the episode as well, or to the podcast. But Emily, back to the conversation. Um, eh, Moving forward with marketing, with this different approach to marketing, with actually going and reaching your customers where they are. I'm curious how you did that in a retail store because that's much more challenging. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that online. It's all about online marketing, right? And just sharing your story on social media. So I want to hear how you did that first before we kind of dive into how everybody else can do it.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because I was the only one that worked in my store. Like, talk about not being the COO. I worked in that store day in and day out. And even on my days off, sometimes I was in there cleaning the store. So we were closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I made it my mission to meet as many people as possible on those 2 days as I possibly could. I also invited people to like come into my store and just like have networking chats with me, like coffee chats, like I'll get you a coffee and we can just connect. So specifically, I was starting with people in my sort of that would make good connections or collaborators for my business. So like people who were in health industries, chiropractors, health coaches, acupuncturists, essential oil people, like those sorts of folks. But I just started kind of exploding it and like meeting every single person that I could. I was on things like, if people wanted to do podcast episodes on non-toxic bedding products, like I became that person. I did sleep talks. So like I just tried to think of other ways to make connections with people outside of just being trapped in my store. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I did, which was like I was never in this for like self-serving. Like I wasn't like, I need to get out there and meet people so I can market. I was just like, I think I need to go meet some people and get out of here. One of the things I did was this little weekly blog called Tuesdays on the Town. And I did it through my chamber of commerce. So I would go to a local chamber business. I would take photos of their shop and like the shop owner and stuff. And then I would write a blog, which was like solely just promoting their business. And then the chamber would share it in their newsletter. And like Emily was the little like author of this Tuesdays on the Town blog. And it was like in building all of those connections and relationships with fellow business owners that I realized there are tons of people out there building businesses that feel alone and confused and frustrated and like they're in this in a vacuum. And from there, I actually like started this entire community of women entrepreneurs in my area, and like events and things like that, all for women entrepreneurs. But it was just a small example of how like collaborating with other people and looking for different ways to make a connection that don't have anything even to do with you promoting yourself. Like those were not even things that I was like, quote unquote, selling my products or marketing myself. It brought so many people into my world that then told other people about what I do, that then told other people about what I do. So that's a really small example, but that's just one of the things I did. And then, like you, I just started doing like live videos in my store. We would stream. I mean, it was like 10 years ago. So this is when all this stuff was like first cool. But we would just like stream Facebook videos on Facebook of two of us chatting about whatever health topic related to the other person's business. So those are the ways I started. And it really just has followed me through there.
That's amazing. Did the internet exist 10 years ago? It seems like forever ago.
Barely. Let's just say like I was the first person doing reels.
You're the first person on the internet. I love it. That's awesome. So I want to kind of shift the conversation then and dive in. So we want to talk about the 4 out of the box ways to gain visibility for your business. I also want to highlight what you just said. Everything you just said centered on building relationships, which is the key to growing a business. Again, my personal opinion, I've seen that work over and over again. It's so hard to just go out and broadcast yourself on the internet and build relationships. And that's what we see is the generally accepted advice today for air quotes marketing. So I want to hear your take on how to get more visibility outside the box ways, because I think the world needs more of that. So help me unpack this. Where do we want to start with these 4 ways?
Well, I think 2 we're touching on right now. So, like my first one is collaboration, and that's just looking for ways to create something new with somebody else. It could be somebody within the same industry as you. It could be like what we're doing right now is a great example of a collaboration. We're coming together and we're creating something literally that has never existed before. Like no one's ever had this exact same conversation. That's pretty powerful. So that's one of the pillars I talk about is collaborating with other people. And I'm a lone wolf. Like I like to do things by myself. It's easier. Let's just say this. It's easier for me to do things by myself. And so sometimes collaboration is the harder path. You have different personalities coming together. One person likes to be prepared. One person doesn't care about being prepared, right?
What are you talking about, Emily? What do you mean by that?
It's a harder road. But I think the potential that it holds to it's a ripple effect. So it just holds more potential in now you having access, like me having connection with your audience, you having connection with my audience as I reshare your episode. So we just take our message and spread it further, wider, faster. And then if you're not, it could be bigger than a podcast. It could be a summit or an event or, you're just increasing your ability to reach and connect with more people. And then we also talked about building relationships, which is key. It's connecting and it may look like connecting directly with your ideal clients and having that human personal customer service touch. And it may also look like connecting with strategic partners, like people that you're actually working with in your business. So that might look different depending on what your business is and how you work. But I think, like you said, I think customer service is a huge key. And I think that if you don't have that connection, people aren't going to buy from you because there's no emotional exchange there, right? They're not bought into what you're offering. And then I think some people may disagree and they hate this word, but the word consistency is one that I really want to bring people back to, because it's not about doing the same thing every single day or showing up every single day, but it's when you decide that you're going to do something, you're all in on doing it, and you show up when you say you're going to. You are reciprocal, right? So you follow through on your word. So I think of consistency more of a trust building thing. And that's showing up for your customers and clients, showing up for your collaborators, showing up for your own business. But what you commit to doing, what you decide to do, be consistent with it. And you don't have to be consistent with the same things forever. Like, you can change your mind. You can say, you know what, I gave that a solid 3 months. I was consistent with that. Now I know I don't like it, or it doesn't work, or it's not for me, and I'm going to get rid of it. Um, and then the last one is just cohesion. And I think that's sort of like it's like making sure that your brand experience, and I say brand, whether you're a person, one person, or a whole company, but making sure that brand experience is unified so that, like, when people walk into your shop, if you have a shop, it's the same experience as what they see online. So they're not, or for me, like my favorite thing to hear from people on sales calls, discovery calls, whatever you want to call them, is like, oh my God, you're exactly how you are on your podcast, or you're exactly how you are on your website. Like, that is the biggest compliment. I want people to feel the exact same when they encounter me in person as when they see me online. I don't want to be like a house divided against myself, right? So bringing that level of cohesion into your message, into your brand, whatever that looks like for you. Those, I think, are the 4 things that we kind of miss in marketing, or we don't talk about often enough.
Yeah, I love the first one too, the collaboration, because I think, like I keep pointing out, to just go out on the internet and try to market yourself to this generic cold audience is so hard. Like, you can talk to other people who have your audience. Maybe they're serving them differently. Emily, you talk about marketing. We talk about operations. We probably serve the same audience
Mm-hmm.
in vastly different ways, and we can both add value to their lives and their businesses. And I'll give you a real life example. So again, I can't stand marketing. I don't like just going on social media and talking to air. But what we really leveraged in our business this year was 2 things, and you touched on both of them. It was collaborations with strategic partners where we could together combine our services and really make a difference in our clients' lives. Both of the 2 partnerships that have already been finalized so far this year have the ability to, like, literally 1000x our businesses, both of us
Wow.
combined. So it's not like a 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's like a 1 plus 1 could equal whatever you make of it. And that's magic.
It's like you've read my formula. I say collaboration is 1 plus 1 equals infinite possibility.
I'm
Oh
your
my
biggest fan. Of course, I've read your formula. And the other one is consistency, which you said word for word. And I just want to highlight that because that's something we tell our clients all the time. Being the operations nerds that we are, we work on 90-day sprints, quarterly sprints, and people want to change so bad. Entrepreneurs are like goldfish monkeys, this weird blend of a zero attention span creature. And we just want to, like, do. You have to be consistent for a period of time. We said 90 days. I think you said 90 days too. And
Mhm.
you have to measure the results. And that's how you start to make incremental improvements that end up having that hockey stick growth at the end. So I love those 4 tips. And I thank you for sharing them too, because they're very practical, very simple, believe it or not. And it's not the advice of the gurus on the internet. So I really, really appreciate that. But I want to talk about where we can hear more from you, because I don't know if you need more Harmonious at Lunch and more me. I'm not that awesome, but Emily's awesome, and Emily has 2 podcasts as well. So where can the listener find you and your podcasts?
Well, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit because you seem pretty awesome,
I
but
am very awesome. I tell myself in the mirror every single day. I just didn't want to come off as, arrogant.
got it. Noted. And you can also check out my podcast, which is Content with Character. And I actually have one specific episode where I really deep dive into all 4 of these. So it's like people call it like a little mini masterclass in every single episode. So Content with Character on your favorite podcast app, or Brandon has so nicely put the link in the comments here, or whatever this is, the
There you
flash
go.
box.
If you're watching, it's on the screen. Wherever you're watching or listening, it is in the description of the show notes down below. We have Emily's website there too if you want to check out her services. But I would absolutely love if you went and listened to her podcast and also subscribe to this one, because she releases an episode once a week. We do an episode once a day. So while you don't have Emily, we have Harmonious, so we can fill in the gaps in your life. And together, look at that collaboration, right? We can fill in the gaps.
It was so
And
hot. I think you heard my smoke alarm going off, so
that was a smoke detector?
that was a smoke
This
detector.
episode is on
Perfect.
fire, people.
It's
You understand that? Look what a collaboration can do. This is amazing. We
Alright,
we are
thanks so
accomplished.
much for having me.
Thank you for coming. This has been an awesome episode. All right, for those of you watching, listening, I already told you before, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment the secret word if you want a book down below, wherever you are. And make sure you come and check us out on the daily madness that is Harmonious at Lunch. We'll see you on the next episode.